What's up, guys? Welcome back. ShowerTime Pod is back, and actually, it's where it's supposed to be. So originally, when I made ShowerTime Pod, it was going to be a sports-based podcast, but when I made it, it was kind of in the off season of all the big sports. You know, football was done, basketball was wrapping up, so I was kind of catching the back end of the sports that I enjoy the most. So, with that being said, it's college football season. It's coming up, so we're bringing it back. And essentially what's going to happen is me and James Ziemba, who I did the March Madness pod before with, is we're going to be breaking down each week the college football season. So me and him are going to each individually talk about the teams we know, the teams we cover. I'm an SEC guy. He's more a Big Ten, ACC guy. So we'll have plenty of different discussions, plenty of arguments. It's going to be great, but I just want to introduce that before this first episode kicks off. Just want to let everybody know it's going to be a week, everything. Every Friday they're going to be dropping. So just really appreciate you guys, for everyone listening. Excited to be back, and let's start this thing off. All right, so what's going on, guys? I got Z here with me. What's up, Z?
What's up, Snick? Thanks for having me, brother.
Of course.
Excited to get going.
Yeah, so this is going to be until essentially the national championship, this podcast. Super excited every Friday. But so yeah, Ziemba, talk about your college football experience, the teams you know / who you're invested in.
So being from New Jersey, being from the New York metro area, college football always definitely took backseat to the NFL. Had the Giants Giants, Jets, and Eagles within basically like an hour of my house. So, and Rutgers, besides a brief time, in like the mid 2000s, have just been an embarrassment to all of football. So I, 12 years of Catholic school growing up. My aunt went to Notre Dame. I have a couple cousins who are at Notre Dame. So grew up a Notre Dame fan basically because just by proximity. And have grown, especially after coming down to Duke and being with all you Southern guys, all those Georgia and Florida boys who love their college football. So kind of almost maybe become a little bit more passionate about Notre Dame and everything that's going on with them. So that's where my allegiances lie, of course, with Duke as well. But then, I always like following in the bullpens during the season last year. We do a lot of talk, a lot of debate. And one of my best friends with the Angels, he went to Rutgers. And so we'd always have the big SEC versus Big Ten debate, geez. And I was always on the SEC side.
Yeah, that's obvious.
I don't know why. But, of course, being in the Northeast, definitely exposed to a lot of the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Everybody from New Jersey is basically either going to Rutgers or Penn State. And then, who doesn't love following Ohio State and Michigan and all that stuff, too. So I like to think I've got my hand a little bit of everywhere.
No, that was definitely the struggle when we would do fall ball for when we would have our season in, like, what was it normally? Like, we started, September and October was when we did our fall ball.
Exactly.
So we would miss so many college football games. It was the worst. It was the worst. But no, I'm excited because I just have like a clear, I don't want to say hatred, but a major dislike of the Big Ten. So that's why I needed you on here, just to kind of like level me out and maybe show me some like bright spots in that conference. But yeah, I'm a heavy SEC guy because I grew up a Gator fan. So I follow them like since I was real young, and that's pretty much all I've ever watched was SEC football. The 3:30 CBS is like Gary Danielson. Vern Lundquist, Gary Danielson. Oh my gosh, dude! Just thinking about it gets me so excited. But I think Lundquist is done now, though.
Yeah, he is. The Army-Navy game a couple years ago was the last game he did on CBS.
But I'm so excited to get started. Okay,
definitely.
So first things first, let's talk about the transfer portal. And let's talk about some player, because this is like new now. Like, this is, I don't want to say drama, but it definitely spices up kind of college football because all these players that are obviously good players can transfer to other places now like free willingly and get like equal opportunity. So you got, I mean, first we could talk about Jalen Hurts, Oklahoma.
Definitely.
That's gonna be scary.
You know what? I've never been happier for a player that I really had nothing invested in.
Yeah,
than
me too.
During the SEC championship last year when he stepped in for Tua.
Yeah.
I just thought that was so cool, and it made me want to cheer for him. I never had an issue with him before. Always really admired how he handled himself in that national championship game 2 years ago.
Yeah.
When Tua came in the second half and kind of, saved the world. But then, Hurts just kind of sticking with it, continuing to do what he was doing, able to be the savior during the SEC championship last year. And then, now we get a chance in Oklahoma. I mean, it's produced the last 2 Heisman winners. So,
well, he only lost like 1 or 2 games at Bama, and then got his job taken away from him, which is still wild.
Exactly.
Obviously, Tua's a freak, but
recruiting and Coach Nick Saban and what he's doing there, and the type of players that they're bringing in. Like I can't just on another level. How are you supposed to compete with that?
Exactly. And then I don't know if you saw, because it literally happened like an hour and a half ago, but Brandon Wimbush from Notre Dame just got the starting job at UCF, which is
and Wimbush was playing until he kind of went through some struggles with an injury too. That Notre Dame team 2 years ago that was undefeated, 7-0. They were ranked early. They kind of got shellacked by Miami, and the season kind of went down the drain. But I mean, he was a starting quarterback for a team that was on their way to the playoff if things broke the right way. So
so you got him there, and now he's a starter. So that's going to be exciting. I'm still not on the UCF train. They got to beat some better teams for me to get on it, but still, that's going to be, the talk of the town. And then obviously you got Tate Martell at Miami, who's not the starter, and I totally thought going to Miami, because Miami has no QBs. Last year Malik Rozier and Nkosi Perry were terrible. Duke beat them. That's when no offense to Duke football, but I'm just saying like Miami is a incredible team. And historically incredible, and the fact that they couldn't figure it out last year. Then they bring in Tate Martell, who everyone thinks is a starter, and now they named Jaron Williams. So that was interesting as well. So I don't know what Tate Martell is going to do, but I love the transfer portal thing. I love it.
Yeah, it seems like it just kind of came out of nowhere, and now everybody. You just hate guys, especially somebody like Tate Martell, who. 5-star recruit coming in, going to be a big deal at Ohio State.
Well, he's the number 1 quarterback in the country coming out of high school.
He can't even start a putrid Miami offense.
Yeah.
And that's even real. I guess that's almost no fault of their own. I mean, the more it comes down to recruiting, and the fact that you have Tate Martell, number 1 quarterback recruit, and Nkosi Perry, who was starting last year for at times for Miami and playing, a freshman is going to step in and start over those 2 guys like that. What a nightmare for Miami. What a nightmare.
So we'll get into that in a little, but I just think that, to me, the transfer portals, it's like NBA free agency in my opinion, because like these guys, like Jalen Hurts had the option to choose like where he wanted to go, and he chose Oklahoma, and everyone's now freaking out. Also, really quick, another player too was the guy from Clemson, Kelly Bryant at Missouri.
Oh yes,
he's at Missouri.
Yeah, and it's an interesting because Missouri actually, I think they've got a bowl ban this year. They can't even. They're banned from postseason play.
Yeah. But that's another thing.
You give him credit, exactly. You give him credit for hanging in there with them. And there's another guy you wouldn't mind seeing succeed. Kelly Bryant, who had some success with Clemson.
Yeah, and especially being the SEC, that's going to be wild. So a lot of fun things to watch. Okay, so I'm sure you saw the preseason top 25 for like the coaches poll or whatever. All right, let's start off first. Give me a team that you think could make a serious run this year that's not, those top 5, top 6 teams.
Um, so first one I really like is Michigan. I know what's 4 years in a row now. Harbaugh's lost to Ohio State.
Yeah, they got spanked.
This might actually be the year. I think finally, not that Ohio State's on a downswing. Urban Meyer finally retiring, but it just kind of feels like their second year with the QB, the kid from
Justin Fields. Justin Fields
no.
Yeah, you're talking about Michigan. Yeah. Shea Patterson.
Michigan. Yeah, Shea Patterson. Second year in that. And he's played very well last year. They returned one of the best offensive lines in the Big Ten. Their defense, I know they lost Devin Bush last year, Devin White. They lost a couple big defensive playmakers, but I just think
their defense is always good.
This could be the year where Michigan really separates itself, because really in the Big Ten, you're always going to have Ohio State there, and you're never going to count them out. But Big Ten's missed out on the college football playoff the last 2 years.
Yeah,
and you just got to think if that's weighing on the committee, and this just feels like Michigan's best chance to finally knock off Ohio State, because not that Justin Fields is a bad quarterback.
Another transfer portal guy.
Exactly. At least he's unproven.
Yeah.
And
Ryan Day, the new coach. So.
Exactly. And then another team which I think is worth keeping an eye on, and then another conference that's been shut out, is Pac-12 in Utah. They're kind of a hot take here.
I like it. No, I like it. Go ahead.
14 in the AP poll, and of course you've got to win the games that you're supposed to.
Well, you almost have to go undefeated now in the Pac-12.
Exactly, but they're in a really good position in the Pac-12 South. Looking at their schedule here, they're at BYU and Northern Illinois at home. Should have no issue with those two games. They're at USC, but USC isn't what they used to. They got Washington State at home. Mm-hmm. Their biggest game is going to be at Washington, which I'm never going to argue with. But other than that, Washington's their biggest test of the year, in my opinion, and it sets up well for a team where you're right. They probably do have to go undefeated. I don't know if one loss gets them into the playoff.
Yeah, the Pac-12 is tough.
When you're looking at, they could win the Pac-12 South even with a loss to Washington at Washington during the regular season. Then you roll right into that Pac-12 championship game, and assuming Washington would be on the other side of that championship game, that's at least they're putting themselves in a position to at least have an argument. So.
Yeah. No,
I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
Pac-12, man.
And Utah's kind of a sexy pick right now, but I don't know. Looking for something a little bit out of the ordinary, I guess.
Yeah, no, I like it. I just think with the state, the Pac-12 or the reputation that I guess they've built in the past 4 years, where when Washington made it to the playoff, got obliterated by Alabama. I just think you almost have to win. You got to go undefeated if you're in the Pac-12 to make it to the playoff.
Yeah, there's just so many. There's so many
There's a lot of weak teams.
Nobody you get excited about.
Yeah.
Even Oregon. Oregon's opened up at 11 in the AP poll, but what you like, they're bringing back Justin Herbert, guy who probably should have won in the draft this past year.
That'll be a good game, Oregon-Auburn.
Exactly, and see, that's where I kind of got scared away from picking Oregon, because not only did they have to go undefeated in because they have to play Washington and Washington State in division, but then you're talking open year with Auburn, and not that they can't beat them, but it makes it that much harder to kind of go that undefeated route, which is probably what they'll have to do.
Yeah. So I like Texas. Hook 'em. And a part of me wants to see that just because they haven't been to a championship in forever. And last year, spanking Georgia in the bowl game. I still believe though Georgia last year was ripped out because they thought they should have made the playoff, didn't. Mm-hmm. So, but either way, they demolished.
Auburn 2 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they still got Ellinger at quarterback. I think Texas is gonna be pretty good, and really, if they beat Oklahoma, they they are putting themselves in a great position. That's pretty much their game. So
exactly. And that's why, like especially preseason polls, they're so deceptive.
Yeah.
And I mean, like we've known, like Jalen Hurts is a senior now. Like we know this kid; he's been around, and not that he can't be successful, but he's not Kyler Murray. He's not the passer that Kyler or Baker are.
No,
he might, and he's not. I mean, he's a good runner, but he's not as athletic as Kyler was. So it'll be interesting to see, how he slides into Lincoln Riley's system.
He doesn't turn the ball over though, which is huge.
It is, but when you're trying to win a national championship, especially the way college football has been these past couple of years, and I guess that's really just like Alabama and Clemson. But you need that,
that X factor.
It's not 2012 anymore when you can just roll out those 6'2" white guys from Alabama and just ground and pound your way to the championship.
Yeah.
Like it kind of seemed like the tides are turning a little bit. So. Yeah. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, but I mean, certainly he's capable. I mean, he's led his team to the national championship game before, so certainly capable of it.
So you're a big Notre Dame fan. Let's talk about Notre Dame, because Notre Dame's always in a sticky situation because they have to win out to go to the playoff. Just because they don't have a conference, they're kind of just like sitting in limbo, so they have to win out. Last year, their schedule looked better on paper than it actually was. This year, though, their schedule is hard. They got a tough schedule because they have that game at Georgia, which is like.
And they're at Michigan too.
Yep, they're at Michigan, which is another one. But I just think the game at Georgia.
At Duke too. Don't forget
at Duke. We'll be there. The game at Georgia is going to be nuts, but I want to get your opinion on Notre Dame. So, what do you think about Notre Dame this year? Do you think they have like a legitimate shot at the playoff again, or do you see? So my opinion, I could tell you really quick, is I think they're going to lose 2 to 3 games this year.
Right,
and I think it's going to be a good team. Like I think it's going to be Georgia, Michigan.
Exactly, and that's the issue where they're at right now is that, I mean, good Lord, if they could go undefeated or even one loss, like if it's still even a one-loss Notre Dame team, I don't think they get in.
Because they don't have that conference championship.
When you look at like the quality of their wins, like let's give them the Michigan or Georgia game. Like, all right, let's give them Georgia, like that's week 3 there. I mean, that's the best win in the country that a team would have.
Yeah.
Assuming nobody beats Clemson and Alabama rolling, that'd be the best win in the country.
Yeah.
You got Michigan and ending the season at Stanford, and that's just always having to go west and play that rivalry game in California. It's never it's just always something up in the air for Notre Dame. So they always have the names on their schedule. It's hurt them lately that they've got Louisville on there, and 3 years ago, if you said, "Oh, Notre Dame, Louisville," oh wow, that might be a good game. But
exactly.
Not anymore. Virginia Tech is taking a step back. USC's taking a step back. So I don't know. They bring back Ian Book, the starting quarterback from last year.
Who's good? I like him.
The kid could spin it. I mean, he replaced Wimbush, and kind of have a look back in that sense. It's just Jafar Armstrong and Tony Jones is kind of be a two-headed monster. At running back, they actually have one of their starting defensive tackles is, I don't know if it's Tua's cousin or brother. I can't exactly remember, but he's a DT for Notre Dame. You got Julian Okwara. He's an edge rusher. They've got the skill guys there. It's just a matter of that schedule working out, and likely it won't. But I mean, if Notre Dame's going undefeated this year, then God bless Brian Kelly, because that man would be a wizard.
So I think what's going to be interesting this year is this is just a wild scenario. But let's say Clemson's going to do their thing. They're going to make the playoff. Alabama most likely is going to make the playoff as well. I think those are 2 locks. And if Alabama doesn't, Georgia is. Alabama or Georgia is going to go. So you're left now with kind of the same thing it was last year with the Big 12, Notre Dame, and the Big Ten. So what's going to get interesting is Oklahoma this year really just has to beat Texas most likely twice because of that Big 12 championship. Yep. And then you look at Ohio State in the Big Ten, they have a ridiculously easy schedule. I mean, their non-conference is it's like FAU, Cincinnati, and Miami of Ohio. And I'm pretty sure do they play Michigan at home or away?
That game is at Michigan.
Yeah, so that's their only tough road game, really. That's it. So Ohio State essentially has to win one.
Yeah, they don't have to go to Penn State either.
Yeah, they have to win one big game, and that's at Michigan. So let's say assuming Notre Dame gets to one loss, let's say Oklahoma gets one loss and Ohio State gets one loss. That's interesting because
where's Michigan in that scenario too?
Well, there's another thing. The Michigan Ohio State. I think that's going to be the same thing like the Georgia Alabama, Michigan Ohio State. Same thing like one of those two teams because like looking on it, it's almost like a lock. Clemson and either Alabama/Georgia. And then there's those two other spots. You bring up Utah or the Pac. You could have a Pac-12 champion. You could have Notre Dame if they could pull through, a Big 12, a Big 10. It's going to be crazy to see those last two spots. And then, you got UCF, their schedule's weak, but still, if they roll through everybody, go undefeated, third year, you don't know what's going to happen. But I think it's going to be...
Does an undefeated Georgia, go, like, we're going to circle back to that SEC. If there's two undefeated teams in the SEC championship, like, where does that leave us?
Yeah. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I want to hear... So give us a playoff right now. Who's in for you?
Oh, man. You're killing me. I mean, you got to go Clemson, Alabama. I don't know. Pick the order that you want. I'll go Clemson.
Yeah, you don't have to give seeds. Just who you got in the playoff.
I'm going to go Clemson, Alabama, Michigan, and you know what? It's a year for tradition. We're picking the horns. Hook 'em.
I like it. Yeah, I'm going to go Michigan, Alabama. I honestly think I want Oklahoma to go, so I'm going to go Oklahoma, although obviously Texas is another good pick. And then I just think ultimately I got to go Ohio State just because of their schedule. And like I said, they got to win one game. Oh, sorry. Clemson, Alabama, Texas, and Ohio State.
There you go.
There we go. Sorry. Yeah, Clemson, Alabama, Texas, Ohio State. Just because I just look at Ohio State's schedule. It's like they're going to wake up week 1 and be like, okay, we got to get prepared for week 10 or whatever it is against Michigan. That's it.
You know what? I mean, you got a coaching change there, and I think we see the value of and not that, I mean, Florida's on a different level when Urban Meyer left, and like recruiting means a lot. Maybe you don't see that drop off in year 1, but I mean, it's a different animal when you don't have that guy at the helm. So,
yeah.
Not that I don't think it can happen, but it's definitely not a foregone conclusion. It'll be interesting.
Yeah. So how it's going to work in the future with the podcasts is that normally what we'll do is like the first 20 minutes or so, we'll go and talk about the games that happened the last week. Pretty much all the games we got right because we're gurus. And then the last half will be like previewing the next week. But because there was no games, obviously, this week, there's nothing to talk about. So let's just go to the preview.
Sounds good.
So what the last game's what? Hawaii? You said Hawaii, Arizona, or something?
Yeah, that's your late Saturday game.
Yeah. So I don't know anything about those teams, so I'll go Hawaii.
Hammer Arizona.
Hammer. Okay, you heard her from Z. Hammer Arizona.
Be a betting man. Lay the points.
Okay.
Bear down.
All right, we're hammering Arizona. You heard it here first. You want to win money, hammer Arizona. Florida, -7, Miami. That's a good line. And, okay, so...
I totally disagree.
Oh, all right, we can talk about it. So, I mean...
Miami has no offense.
You're right.
They have no offense.
You're right. But I think so. You got to remember though too. Florida really doesn't either. Like Felipe Franks has had spurts of quote unquote greatness, I guess. Like he played exceptionally well against Michigan last year in that bowl game. But like if Felipe Franks has not gone out and like asserted himself as a top tier QB. Like Florida in the past years have relied on that defense and that running game. So obviously you're going to get experience with Felipe Franks, but I just, I look at that -7 and it's like, Miami is going to have brand new coach in Manny Diaz, a brand new quarterback. Like there's at least energy there. Like there's excitement. And I think the game can either go Florida blows them out of the water, or Miami potentially wins. Like I don't see a close Florida win. I see if it's close, Miami's winning it. Just because I don't know. You're right. Miami doesn't have an offense, but they got a defense, and Felipe Franks isn't a great thrower by any means. And I don't know. That spread is tough. That line's tough, in my opinion.
I'm just sold out on Miami having and like we talked about before, when you're starting a freshman or a redshirt freshman over Nkosi Perry, who was starting for you at times last year, and a 5-star top quarterback recruit in the class, it just makes me worry because like we'll kind of, and if nothing else, you start talking about the culture of a program. And like, what's going on? How aren't these guys, kind of rising to the occasion? Especially Tate Martell, he's been just riding the pine. He had a headset on the past couple of years. Like, how is he not ready for his time to shine? He knows he's got to step up, and it just makes me question, at least on the offensive side of the ball, what's going on with Miami.
Well, even like Nkosi Perry last year. And yeah, he started, but like if you watch Nkosi Perry last year, he did. I don't think he did anything deserving of a spot this year. Like if you look on his film last year, when you watch him against Duke, I mean the game against Duke. Granted, it was raining. Pouring, but still he was miserable. And even like other games, like there wasn't any like bright moments with him to be like, okay, you know what? This is our guy for the future. And then, you bring in Tate Martell, who just literally steps into the program. Or you got Jaron Williams, who's been there last year. He knows Manny Diaz. I mean, if Jaron Williams is terrible in the first quarter, they're going to take him out. Like, I don't think he has a very long leash on him. But I just think there's an energy around Miami right now with Manny Diaz because he's liked defensive guy going against a Gator offense that is not elite. I mean Miami, we know that the strength of their team is their defense and the turnover chain, everything like that. And I think you like having Manny Diaz, like the former defensive coordinator stepping in, head coach, kind of having that type of emphasis. They're linebackers, and think about like in the same vein as Ray Lewis and John Villman, all those kind of guys. They led the nation in third down stops last year. And you know what? I just kind of went back now to look at Nkosi Perry's stats because I was curious, and I don't remember this, but they won at Virginia Tech last year. And I know Virginia Tech wasn't. I literally don't remember that either. So,
but I mean, and you know what? And Nkosi Perry, 21 for 34, 171 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. I mean, you're not lighting the world on fire there, but I mean, you've seen flashes of it. And they beat Pitt last year to get to bowl eligibility, I believe it was. Or maybe the Virginia Tech game may have gotten bowl eligible, but then they got blown out by Wisconsin in the Pinstripe Bowl.
Yeah. Well, that's in the cold. Miami in the cold turns from a top 25 team to like the worst like 175 team. They're terrible in the cold.
Yeah. But see, like what's scaring me is they're starting on their offensive line. They're starting 2 freshmen. Mm-hmm. One, the left tackle, Zion Nelson. He's a true freshman. He's a true freshman starting at left tackle. Yeah. In Division I FBS football, and then John Campbell, who's a right tackle, redshirt freshman. And I'm sure this Nelson kid, he's capable. That he wouldn't be put in there if he wasn't. But it just kind of makes me question, like, where are we at right now? And I don't think there was a kid at Duke in my 4 years that was an offensive lineman that ever saw the field. I think they all redshirted, never mind guys that were starting the first game of their freshman year. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, just that alone almost makes me scared of especially when you were talking a 7-point line there. Like, my first instinct when I saw this game was Florida blows them out because Miami just feels so disheveled.
Yeah. So you got
some. I don't totally disagree. You got some new blood in there with Manny Diaz. Mark Rick just didn't click. He just didn't click with that whole system, with that fan base, with the players. So I'm sure new blood won't hurt. And when you're bringing in the coordinator, who was the lone bright spot for the team, that'll at least hopefully excite some people.
So you got Florida big.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely laying the points, and yeah, I'll go big. Why not? I'm feeling bold tonight.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Florida wins 27-10. But like I said, I don't know. I'm excited because after Florida's performance last year against Michigan, they proved their potential playoff team. But it's all up to Felipe Franks, so we'll see how that offense clicks. But I have Florida too, so I think that's. I don't know. But at the same time, if Miami comes out and they're just a completely new team under Manny Diaz, you never know. I don't know. They're so hit or miss. Miami, it feels like.
Keep an eye out, KJ Osborne. He's a redshirt senior, just transferred in from Buffalo. He's a wide receiver for Miami.
Yeah.
Won't be their top offensive weapon, but he'll be one of the guys in there. So it'll just be fun to watch a guy who played in the MAC his whole career and is now being thrust onto the big stage, especially in his first game. So keep an eye out there. He'll definitely be a playmaker that hopefully Miami, especially a veteran playmaker that Williams will be able to rely on.
So last thing that I want to talk about, let's talk about Duke because we're both big, huge Duke fans. I mean, you should have seen us when me and you both went to that Miami game where Malik Rozier played like a god, like the only time he ever has. Both of us had our hearts just ripped out because Duke was what, like 5-0, and Miami was 5-0.
Yeah, exactly. No, they were 4-0. They were
4-0. It was a Thursday night game, wasn't it?
No, it was a Friday night game.
It was a Friday night.
It was coming off that they had a crazy win at Carolina.
Yeah,
and
that was.
We were like, oh my god,
this was it.
Set the world on fire.
And then they let us down again.
Yeah. You know what? They went to that was the Quick Lane Bowl that year, I think.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Knocking off Northern Illinois. Hey, win a bowl game, baby.
Okay, so we play Alabama to open up the year. I just feel terrible, and
I would love to be, I'd love to, and I'd just love to hear Nick Saban break down Duke football. Like, just like and I don't even mean that as an insult. Because Duke's my favorite, and the only time I ever cheered against Notre Dame is when Duke played at Notre Dame my senior year, and I think that was one of the happiest days of my life. Is when Duke went into South Bend and beat them.
Yeah.
But just to hear like somebody, I guess it's really any coach break down Duke, but it's so funny when we look at it, and I guess we're getting a little bit older now, but when we love to hear coach break down like kids that we're friends with and kids that we sit in class with. Like, it's such a different perspective to have.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, you know what? Duke playing Alabama in that
it's good experience.
In that first game, it's good experience, and it's a testament to Coach Cutcliffe and everything that he's done with this program. Because you turn the clock back 10 years ago, like Duke football was
terrible.
They were being NC Central, and that's about it.
Yeah.
So it's a testament to what he's been able to do to this program. And you're going to go through your ups and downs. You're going to go through your growing pains, and excited to see what Quinn Harris will be able to do this year. Former baseball player, and you take what you can get. You get some younger guys, some experience, and then you see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that worries me the most about Alabama is I just don't want to see, because we're already thin on the depth chart as it is. I just don't want to see a big player go down. And, because Alabama is so much bigger, faster, stronger than we are. To see like if Quentin Harris or because we're already thin on wide receivers because I'm pretty sure the Bobo kid, Jake Bobo or whatever,
Jake Bobo,
he got hurt. So we're thin there. We just because that's what hurt us last year, honestly, because our season was looking really good last year, and then Ben Humphrey gets hurt, Joe Giles Harris got hurt, DJ got hurt for a couple games. Gilbert, yeah, I mean,
the whole year.
So that's what I feel like has hurt us from going, 9-3.
And the crazy thing is that they find themselves in a bowl game.
Yeah,
and get another win.
Yeah, I still think this year too. Somehow, some way, we'll find a bowl win because we'll play amazing, 4 or 5 games in a row, and then we'll go through that stretch where we look like we're a 0-10 team. But I don't know. Cutcliffe finds a way, so I can't argue with that. And of course, he molded Daniel Jones into the future best quarterback in the NFL. So,
can we talk about Daniel Jones for a second and talk about the absolute disrespect?
I know
that he's seen for the past 3-4 months. I don't know however long it's been since.
Yeah, and go ahead.
How great it is to just watch him, and everybody knows it's the preseason game. Nobody's talking that he's the next Y.A. Tittle or he's not the next Joe Montana, but it's clear that he's a capable NFL quarterback, and you're seeing flashes of why.
Yeah.
And Gettleman wanted to take him with that 6th overall pick, and I just think I can't imagine being in his position and knowing that you're basically expected to fail before you even put on your hat and take your picture with the commissioner. So I'm just really happy for Daniel, and he's a great kid, and just can't wait to watch and see how things work out for him.
Well, and what's funny is majority of the people who hated on Daniel Jones or / still do, they didn't watch him in college. They probably looked at his stats and just saw that he played for Duke. They forget that he did not have a good offensive line by any means. His wide receivers were average. So, you're looking at a lot of drops on the deep ball because he throws the deep ball so well. And he had a lot of drops on the deep ball. I mean, he was getting sacked a ton just because, our offensive line just wasn't great. And, he still put up ridiculously good numbers for being a quarterback there. So now you put him on the Giants with professional guys. Granted, it's still not a great O-line, but he has Barkley. He has wide receivers that are capable of going and getting the deep ball. He's going to thrive, in my opinion. I think he's going to be great. I think he is going to be great.
The Giants have Evan Ingram, the tight end out of North Carolina.
Yeah,
always love having a solid tight end for a young quarterback to rely on. If he ever gets to play this year, of course Saquon. And not only is he just a good running back, like an absolute workhorse, does it all, and really somebody you can lean on. He's not just a serviceable running back. He's a guy that will open up the passing game for you, regardless of what he can do in the run game. And he doesn't get enough criticism himself for the athleticism that he'll be able to flash. He's kind of in that Mitch Trubisky. That Sam Darnold type, more Trubisky, but like that guy who you don't expect to be super athletic, but all of a sudden can rip off a 15-yard run on 3rd and long and get you that first down. So
yeah, and he's got Sterling Shepard, wide receiver. I mean, he's great.
Yeah, and Golden Tate too. Well, I mean, Golden Tate unfortunately with the suspension, but he'll roll right back in there in the slot for him. I mean, they've got some experienced guys for him. We'll see. In terms of what Pat Shermer will be able to do with that offense. But it's just interesting to see. I mean, really the talk's going to be when is he eventually going to get in there?
Yeah.
Of course, Eli's the big stopgap, but we shall see. We're excited to see what's capable. Just excited to see that he's playing well, even if it's just in the preseason. And that, people are starting to see the light.
So we are recording this on a Thursday night, so I have a in the now Daniel Jones update. They're playing the Bengals, and he is 7 for 9 with 115 yards. I mean,
injects it directly into my veins.
it's every game. His completion percentage is so high. His QB rating is off the charts, and he's smart.
If you watch the throws he made in that first game, I forget they were playing. It was 5 throws.
It was
it was one drive, but oh my goodness, the pass and yes, he was playing a bunch of third teamers and a bunch of guys who are going to be cut, in the next couple weeks. But my word, he was placing the ball on some of the. I mean, those are professional passes. Those are not every quarterback in the NFL is making those passes. So, just great to see. And then you know what, we'll take it 1 week at a time. And everybody in your fantasy leagues, like late round, 13th, 14th round.
Yeah, there you go.
Maybe snap up Daniel Jones, maybe winning a championship.
All right, Z. Well,
Smick, it's been real.
Yeah, so like I said, every week we're going to come out with episodes on Friday. I know there is Thursday night games, there's Friday night games, so for those weeks, if they're big, we'll come out with some before. But hammer Arizona, you heard it here, and take Florida.
Lay the points, baby.
Yeah, I mean, take Florida according to Z. For me, I'd hold back on that. But anyways, so we got Florida, we got Arizona for week 0. We'll see you back next Friday when we'll be 2 for 2 and talking about the real season started. So you guys take care. Thanks, Z.
See you next. Thanks.
So that podcast there was brought by our future sponsor. Whoever wants to be our future sponsor, my email is showertimepod@gmail.com. But in all seriousness, guys, thanks for listening. I'm really looking forward to this journey with me and Z. I got a bunch of guests lined up, all football players, either current or past, and really look forward to get this thing going. So appreciate you guys. Love you guys. And remember to always hit the showers.